Alright, we're using FSD version 13.2.2. We're getting to the interesting portion of the drive. We got an interchange and an exit in rapid succession. It's been doing beautiful up until this point. Mainly been on easy streets to get to the freeway. And the freeway itself, zero issues. Tesla earnings were yesterday, and big announcement from Elon that we should be seeing our first unsupervised test city in Texas. It's going to be near the Austin factory, and they're going to go unsupervised with trials, hopefully starting in June. So that's going to be awesome. So hopefully we'll get a few more FSD version 13 updates. Ooh. That was the truck driver and the Audi changing lanes into each other. Thankfully, no accident. So that's good. Now, on top of that, we had the basically Ashok, who's the head of FSD development, and Elon. Elon basically got it and said, look, hardware 3, we're going to start replacing people that paid for hardware 3 in full. So somewhere between, I believe, $8,000 and $15,000 for FSD. So the people that bought it outright, not the subscription holders, should be getting FSD to hardware 4 replacements or some version of that. So if it's just the computer that needs to be upgraded, they can likely do a hardware 3.5 or something in between, because it doesn't have the better cameras that this car has, and they're up against a power constraint problem with the wiring that was the existing wiring that was installed in the car. Now, since these cars have been in place since 2016, and they had the original 2.5, and then they upgraded those to 3, and now 3 to some version of 4. If they use more power efficient chips, they can kind of get around the power constraint problem. That is, if you are, hardware 4 does consume more power. Okay, that guy's light is just way too dim. I didn't realize it until it was too late. His turn signal is basically dead, but he's not even chained. I think he's just stuck on. Anyway, the hardware 4 does consume more power, and if you have less powerful cameras and you think you can just get away with it, you can probably make an in-between hardware set that's more power efficient, but will get the job done to get it to version 13 levels that we're at now. But if you want to start adding that the additional camera into the front, yeah, that would be the 4th camera on hardware 3, because hardware 3 has 3 forward-facing cameras. Up here, we only have 2. So on hardware 3, it'd be the 4th bumper camera. You would need to do a lot of wiring. If memory serves me right, hardware 4 does have a wiring harness that's already near the bumper for either a radar or something. Don't quote me on this. So retrofitting existing hardware 4s with an extra camera might not be a problem, even if they need it or not. It's up to debate. But it would be nice because it doesn't see what's in front of it, and you get that object detected from these cameras, even though it's a false positive. So you have to tap the gas to tell it, yeah, there's nothing in front of me. For when there's a driver in the car, not a big deal. When there isn't a driver in the car, we need this thing to work and get to the customer's house, or the rider's house or business or wherever they're being picked up from, rather efficiently. So you can't rely on someone to help the car. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the matter. That's really cool that they'll get new computers. Or if I was a betting person, what I would really do is just offer like a master buyout agreement. Be like, look, is it really worth dumping this much money into cars that have 100,000 miles in them? Probably not. Why don't you just sell it to us, or sell it on the open, whatever you choose. You get the fair market value of the car, And yes, it's probably a little bit diminished because now none of the car, in a sense, people that were trading and buying hardware 3 cars, they have to get this update. So they're not going to go supervised like they thought. How it impacts the value of the cars, I don't know. And there's an old saying, the market... Oh. California drivers. We get to make fun of them. California plates. But yes, so in a sense, you just buy your way out of the problem. A lot of these people paid thousands of dollars anyway. You give a free upgrade to the new one, which it seems like frequently they do anyway. Maybe offer 0% financing and, you know, a few more bucks basically. Look, you paid 15 grand for FSD, it's currently 8. Knock 10 grand off the car, make people happy. Everybody's still, the Tesla makes money because you're still making margin of some kind, and then you avoid maybe a lawsuit or some sort of class action that someone will start. Creates a lot of bad PR anyway. In this particular application, probably doesn't cost very much to keep people happy and increase volume of newer cars. So helps make new sales. That's what I'm saying. So wash the problem by offering people, hey, we thought this would work, but it doesn't. Come buy a new hardware 3 or Model Y, Juniper, or it's got the new bumper cam, whatever. And while there are pre-orders for it right now, you're gonna probably see in like after 6 months of production that backlog vanish, and you'll have inventory cars again. That's the time you want to deplete those inventory levels, because there's a general slow seasons for car sales. I don't think they make there's 2 lulls in that, like shoulder seasons, if you will, in the car sales industry, and that's when you just clear yourself out of this problem. You're like, come on, trade them in. And I mean, people don't keep their cars forever, so let's say you got 5 to 10 years start or whatever. You get the drill. I'm rambling. The point is, the way out of this problem is just selling people new cars and not retrofitting. Because I'd imagine it's a mind-boggling task. How do you bring in all of these cars? You got to make basically 1 million hardware 3 units, or hardware 4 additional to a constrained production as it is. Your service centers are going to have to retrofit a lot of cars, and it can't be easy into an already stressed, in a sense, service environment. So how do you do heavy retrofitting of lots and lots of vehicles? It's just easier to sell people new ones. Give the people what they want. A great deal on a new Model Y or a new Model 3. And quite frankly, it's a way better car. So there's that too. Because the new ones have better suspension, they're quieter, they have better everything. So I think a lot of people would take a master buyout, basically a buyout agreement, and say, hey, we agree not to sue you, we tried, we beta tested this. Like the current hardware 3, I tried it on my brother's car, it is not this, and if it's already maxed out on compute, it is what it is. You can smooth it out a little bit, maybe do another 1 or 2 updates on it, but really, I don't know how much further they can actually take it and make it work. They can get it to the point of good good supervised FSD maybe, but even in its current state, it's not the greatest. Like where we're at right here with this hardware 4, amazing. And it'll only get better over the next 5 years. Because we'll have AI 5 and then AI 6. And AI 6 will be super smooth, more than likely. mean, at that point, you're going to be far better than a human. And then you get into the debate where by, you know, if you're an insurer or Tesla Insurance, you're basically going to need the driver to use the FSD because the FSD will be more reliable than the human driver. And quite frankly, the time saved. Imagine if I was able to, you know, write an email, watch TV, do something else. I don't have to pay attention. I get the hour of my day back. And that's huge. So if you're a professional, if you can telecommute in the car, in this private little box, it's worth a lot of money per hour. Because you're gaining that. Imagine if you're an attorney that's driving to a client's house and you can write that motion in your car and bill a client $500. So that hour that you're wasting driving suddenly became $500 of billable time. Or you can sit here, you know, get a little tray. Hey, you can still take over if you want. You can still drive the car, or if it's icy or whatever. Hey, you still have those options. But having unsupervised as in certain population, it's wonderful to have because it takes telecommuting to a whole new level. Imagine you stick a Starlink dish on this, and you're a doctor, and a lot of doctors are doing telecommute or teleappointments, right? Like a lot of times, the follow-up appointment you make now with your doctor lasts like 5 to 10 minutes, and you're just checking in to see how and they make minor tweaks, and it's all virtual anyway. So the doctor can take basically, hey, I want to drive to wherever on the weekend. I'm going to have a weekend with my wife or kids. They can get in the car, put the Starlink dish up. They can make the telecommute calls throughout Friday while the car does the driving. They're still billing. They're not taking a day off. They're still working. And they can do their workload, bill for the time, and the car does the driving. Everybody wins. So it's actually an amazing unlocker of productivity. So you have the potential to see, imagine if 30% of your workforce, like your white collar or the US workforce, could work a significant portion of the day remotely. Even though we're going back to office, imagine if that 1 hour isn't wasted. 30 minutes, 40 minutes each way, whatever you want to call it. That's pure wasted time. And there you go, FSD. That's regaining potentially probably $1 trillion in productivity that's just thrown out the door. And it's a force multiplier because 1 hour of you driving is literally 1.3 hours of your life. I mean, if you incorporate the sleep or overhead to that hour. Because if I'm awake 1 hour, it means I have to sleep 35 minutes to make up for that hour. Okay, so we're on the right here. It never sets up to park in front of my office. I have to manually kind of... parking spaces anyway. So we're gonna disengage, get back on the street, and go find a place nearby to park. That's a fire lane. Let's see, our tail. Let's make sure it's not in the street. Okay, good. Thank you, driver, for waving me through. Oh wow, there's a lot of not cars here today. Usually this area is filled with cars parked. It's my lucky day. All right, this is a fantastic little FSD drive. Hope you enjoyed it. And the progression of autonomy.